I'm now joined by Lu Xiankun from Geneva, Switzerland. He's a former senior trade diplomat of China and now a managing director of LEDECO, Geneva. Thank you for joining us, sir. China's Development Forum, where we just reported, Yi Gang, the Chinese central bank governor, said China will focus on fixing its domestic challenges first. He also said China can safeguard and fend off any external shocks. What do you think he means by that?
Well, I think that in terms of financial policy in the future, the domestic challenges and external shocks are always interrelated. I think China, of course, needs to look at both things at the same time. Internally, of course, I think he has made it clear that China needs to maintain a prudent financial policy so as to sustain its economic development as well as the supply side reforms. Externally, of course, people have been saying that for quite some time that the financial risks have been accumulating, and which, of course, pose a great threat to China's sustainable development. So these things need to be looked at seriously. But more importantly, he also sent out a very important message saying that to do all this, China needs to pursue further reform of its financial kind of policy, which is, of course, a welcome signal to the external world, because China's financial market has for long been criticized by both outsiders and insiders as being a highly restrictive market, which of course needs to be further opened towards the external competition, so as to make sure that China's financial industry will will become stronger in the future. Thanks.
Well, Mr. Lu, the U.S. has 15 days to announce the list of goods that will be hit by the Trump tariff. How would that impact the Chinese exporters, and which industries do you think would be hit the hardest?
Yeah, maybe you could talk about the industry first. Of course, for the moment, nothing is clear about which industries are going to be hit by the U.S. measures, because the USTR needs to present a list of products to be sanctioned in 15 days. Of course, indirectly, there are some information saying that most of the industries are targeted, are mainly those high-tech industries, including new materials, new energy, automobiles, high-speed trains, so on and so forth, and which, of course, will affect such industries in China seriously if the measures are taken against those industries. But of course, the other thing is that the Chinese internal market will help to alleviate the heavy impact on these industries, but also trying to source import from other markets in the near future. In the long term, I think there's always a solution to this for Chinese industries to be hit.
This tariff is unprecedented in scale. Potentially 1 in 7 Chinese goods sold to the United States could be affected. How do you think that will impact the U.S. economy and its consumers?
Yeah, I mean, if one weapon is raised and then it actually hurts to both directions, the U.S., whatever measures they are going to take against Chinese exports, the U.S. Cannot easily walk away from this, because a lot of figures and researchers have indicated that the imports of China has helped a lot the U.S. economy as well as the common household. One figure said that Chinese imports from China has helped the U.S. families, common families, save around $850 per year, and that's a big figure for any common household of the U.S. economy. So I think that whatever measure taken to the Chinese exports, and that would also seriously affect the U.S. Domestic families, but also more importantly, also the U.S. domestic industries, which also depend heavily on imports from China to produce their own products and re-export it towards China and other markets. So this is a kind of, we call it global supply chain, which is, of course, make sure that which of course means that anything that happens on China's exports will come back to the U.S. Industry also, and our household families also. Thank you.
Mr. Lu Xiankun, Managing Director at LEDECO Geneva, thanks so much.